first review, this is a 2018 Audi Q7 Premium Plus with the Quattro all-wheel drive. As we make our way inside, we have Audi's virtual cockpit, the black interior, and the gray oak gloss interior trim. And next I'll show the startup sequence. Look over the window sticker, we can see the various options and packages that we have included, such as the Premium Plus package, which includes Bose 3D Surround, the driver assistance package, the Vision package, which includes Audi's virtual cockpit, the warm and cold weather package. As we look across the interior, we can see a lot of changes with the newer generation Q7, such as the updated MMI, which is their multimedia interface, Audi's virtual cockpit, which we'll cover more later in the video. And a lot of the buttons has just been removed or simplified. That long vent isn't really a vent, it's more for aesthetics. The true functional vents are the ones with the tabs. And we can see here we have Audi's updated shifter. To shift out of park, you press a button, push down, you're in drive. To shift in reverse, press a button, push forward, you're in reverse. To press park, just press a button for P, you're park. And slightly forward for neutral. I feel that this system is similar to BMW's, if not a little bit easier to use. As an added safety function, it does prevent unintended rolling by applying the parking brake and park automatically if you were to open the driver's door with the vehicle and drive. And that's a good feature considering technology such as start-stop. Next, I'll cover the camera system. Right now, I have the front camera selected, and there's the rear camera. It does have top-down 360 camera as well. These cameras can be selected and cycled through the rotary knob on the MMI. The cameras are automatically enabled once you select reverse gear, and then enabling drive would then activate the front camera. Does have a wide angle camera as well, and that just helps you see a little bit further into the corners, like around corners. But even without it, there is cross traffic alerts, and you will receive visual arrows indicating where traffic is approaching from, either the left or right side of the screen. Here in the top right of the screen, you'll get your parking sensors, which are proximity based, and you'll hear tones basically when you're getting close to an object, and you'll see it visually turn red, and the marker moves closer depending on the object. For example, I'm showing in this clip as I'm moving closer to this garage door. And that's solid tone telling me that I am probably within a few inches away from the object. Here I'm just going to go over just a few features of the steering wheel and Audi's virtual cockpit. There's volume control, there's phone control, does have paddle shifters, and there's a switch for lane keep assist, and just different features of the virtual cockpit. I just change the view, I can cycle through the arrows here. There's my map, which I can have it displayed on the main console as well as the center screen. It's a good feature, for example, if I want to have my music interface on one screen and the map on a different screen, instead of just choosing between one or the other. Here's the driver assistance menu, and with this system, it can show you following distance when you're driving as well. So you'll get a time-based up here, which gives you a visual similar Audi Q7 that kind of appears in the screen, which can give you time you're following with distance, just an example, 3 seconds, and let you know if you're following too close. And here I can activate the lane keep assist, and lane keep assist, you'll see the green arrows in the bottom right. Each one of these menus, I can either have the gauges, the tach, and the speedometer, either the small where they are right now, or I can have them the big, large, traditional type of setting. Let's move on. You can see here we have fully automatic climate control. Since it does have the warm weather package, this is a 4-zone climate control. This has heated and ventilated seats, and they both can actually be activated simultaneously. So in essence, you can have warm air blowing through the seats. And here I'm not actually physically touching the buttons, I'm just resting my finger across each button. But each button gives you the option, kind of tells you what they do, and the more options before actually triggering the switch. So here I'm just switching between the 4-zone. I could set the rear, or I could sync them all together as one. And here you can disable the start-stop, which a lot of people don't like when the engine turns itself off at a stoplight. You have the drive modes, which is dynamic for sporty, comfort for softer, and off-road for different configuration. And all these changes just the steering feel and the throttle response. Here's how you activate the camera system and the parking sensors, and that's hill descent control. And hill descent control is just mainly for, it keeps the car from exceeding a certain speed, such as 5 miles an hour down a steep grade. And you have a switch here next to that, which powers off the screen and retracts the screen into the dash. So if you don't want to see it, you can have it hidden. Pressing it again enables it, and it deploys again. Anytime the screen is retracted and you receive a phone call or reverse gear is selected where the camera is activated, the screen would redeploy. And then once the phone call is ended or the rear camera is turned off, the screen does automatically retract again. And I'm showing here the cruise control stock. This is adaptive cruise control. So basically you just set your speed and your following distance. It works like any other adaptive cruise control. Maintains the distance in front of you. But if you do have lane keep assist enabled, and if you are in stop and go traffic, with those two working together, the Q7 can become fully autonomous, and it does that below 40 miles an hour. Anything above that, it will ask you to place your hands back on the steering wheel. And if for any reason it cannot read the line markings, or it cannot maintain the proper following distance due to hard braking, you will receive warnings prompting for driver intervention. Here are your window controls. All 4 windows are fully automatic. Here are the mirror controls. You do have heated, open and close for the mirrors, and here's a switch here to show you just how they close. And turn the switch back in the middle, or either left or right can open the mirrors again. You have the child locks, which are enabled electronically. Pressing either side of the child lock can prevent the child from using the window and the door control on that side. Enabling both simultaneously can limit also the person in the rear seat operating the rear climate controls. And here you have the light switch, which is in the auto position right now. These lights are fully automatic, meaning if the wipers, which are also automatic as well, if the wipers are in low, or the rain sensing detects rain and they put the wipers in low, the car can actually turn or activate the headlights as well. It knows that. And that switch I just pointed to, that's just not a fog light, but it's a separate light that just directs more beam onto the line markings, so it helps you see in adverse weather. So headlight is here. This is the actual ring light I was telling you about. These lights are your big front light, and I think these right here, this one on each side, these are your sensors for lane keep assist. And I think they rate the part of the cruise control as well. Also have the forward collision warning sensor up here at the windshield. And here we have the tail lights as well as the rear fog light, which is the light here in the lower bumper. This light, like I said, is activated by the switch. And these lights here do not illuminate unless the trunk is open because the whole light opens with the trunk. So you can see here, those lights now act as tail lights and or brake lights. And it's a nice safety feature, considering with the hatches open, there are no lights back there. So I'm gonna close the hatch and you'll see how the lights switch back. Those lower lights go off and then the hatch lights now illuminate. As I make my way over to the back seat, you'll see that there's a bench across the rear. Audi doesn't offer captain seats, maybe like some competitors would do, but there is plenty of room. I'm in my normal seating position. I'm 5'8", and you can see I have two hands worth of space between my knees and the front seat. The seats do slide fore and aft, which do help a lot of increasing leg room when need to be. Here's the 4-zone climate control. You get the same soft touch like the front seats as well. You can redirect the air where you need it to be, or you can have it fully automatic. And also there's 3-zone heated seats as well for the rear passengers, as long as a 12-volt outlet. Also included with the warm weather package are these sunshades, which comes on the rear windows as well as the rear glass back here as well. They're all manual shades, and you have the deep tinted sunroof, which is right now is shaded closed. But it is a big, large panoramic roof. Here, some more touch, open. And I can do the sunshade at the same time, and they'll both close. And pressing it upwards tilts the roof, so you can have a little ventilation function if you prefer that. Just a glass. Here, your home link. You can provide a for your garage door, gates, lights, anything that's home link compatible. Okay, and you have map lights, and these are just soft touch. Very nice. Okay. So we go back here to menu. Back to our settings. We can go in here. And the car does have the handwriting function, which is pretty neat. So you have your destination. Normally you can talk and speak the what you like, or you can write it.
C O F F E E.
All right, and you can type in anything you want here. This Audi is also equipped with Audi Side Assist. The system works like a conventional blind spot monitoring, except it takes it a step further by alerting the driver of potential unsafe lane changes. For example, a car is approaching your blind spot very quickly. These black squares illuminate a solid amber that doesn't distract the driver at all. Only if a lane change is signaled in that direction while a vehicle is detected is when you'll see 3 bright flashing lights. Additionally, when parked, Side Assist can alert driver or passenger when it's unsafe to open the car door by eliminating the lights on that side of the vehicle. I feel that the Side Assist is a very proactive system instead of a reactive system. Next, we'll go over some compartments and cubbies, which I feel is important with every new car, is to see where these compartments are laid out. First, we'll start with the glove box, and you can see there's 2 SD card slots. The glove box is nicely felt, and it is damped. Next compartment you'll see here is 12-volt outlet, has small compartment, maybe for loose change. And this third place is for miscellaneous items. Also, you'll see here is, for example, your key, fob, or the die. This is where you'll place it for to start the vehicle. Here there's two USB ports as well as an auxiliary. Can't see much what this spot could be used for other than maybe a pen or a cell phone, since the car does have Apple CarPlay. You can just plug your phone in and hide it, hands-free. Armrest does slide fore and aft to suit different levels of comfort. Next is a cup holder test. I have a 30-ounce tumbler, which is maybe the largest you can probably fit in a cup holder. It fits there okay. Wouldn't say it's the best fit, but it does work. The placement of the cup holders isn't my favorite, considering the controls are blocked, especially when you have a large cup like I do. Maybe hard for passengers to reach that control, either the seat controls or their temperature. What I do like is the small pocket for the key. So the key just fits here in the slot, and it's an easy place to keep track of it. Next, I'll talk about the third row. And you can see the third row is already in this position. To enter the third row, you just pull the lever, see it pops forward. And you push the little center section here, and it should push the seat out the way to access that. Here I have a cup holder in the third row, as well as a small window, so you don't get the claustrophobia. Overall, these seats are smaller than its competitors, but for a short distance, no more than a couple of hours, I would say for someone my size, I'm 5'8", could probably tolerate it. But these seats are, I would say, either for emergencies, for adults, or just small children only. Exit the seat now. And it's like push, pull trick here. Okay, get out. And it looks like there's buttons down here to fold the third row. Headrest drop in place. And full access to the cargo room. You can fold them back into here as well. As we take a look at the engine of the Q7 3.0T, the first thing I want to correct is the T does not stand for turbo. For this particular engine, it is a supercharged engine. It's a V6 supercharged. Audi does offer a 4-cylinder turbocharged as well, but this particular one is the 333 horsepower V6 and 325 pound-feet of torque. The torque is set to come alive a little bit earlier than its predecessor, which is at peak at 2900 RPM. When driving the Q7, the engine is very silent. The 8-speed transmission does a very good job of keeping the revs in the right RPM at the right time. There is a small hint of supercharger whine at part throttle, but for the most part, this engine does remain mostly silent. And since the battery is located under the seat, there is a little port here to jumpstart if need to be. So the tow rating has went up from 6,600 to 7,700, which is actually the best in, I think, this class for, especially a car like this, to be able to tow 7,700 pounds and then have some weight of 770 pounds. Obviously this is blanked out, but the vehicle is pre-wired for towing. All of this is, you take these 4 screws off, you can buy the adapter plug. It's a 7-pin. You get it from a dealership, or you can save some money and try to obtain it on Amazon. But this is when you access your lights, and you got the hitch, it's ready to go. Overall, the Q7 has been dramatically changed inside and out, along with the new technology that's been added in. However, I do wish Audi would create a new S-Line version. I know they do have an SQ7 over in Europe, but hopefully they do create an S-Line to give it a little more sporty flair, but the style does have a nice mature look to it. I did have the option of trying out Audi's traffic jam assist, which worked well for the most part, but unfortunately every time I tried to capture it on camera, the line markings here in California were just little bumps and the car kind of struggled, which in turn caused the system to disengage. This vehicle can read traffic signs, which is a nice little feature here, and tell you school zones and speed limits. Well, this concludes my review. Like I said, this is my first one, and I'd like to continue to do more in the future. Please comment below, let me know what you think. At the end of the video, I'll include a 0 to 60 acceleration run, as well as an exhaust clip. Thank you, and see you in the next video.